Story of Nat Turner, the real-life Django. Turner was born in Southampton, Virginia. Nat's slave owner allowed him to learn how to read, write, and even get deep into religion, which was very uncommon in the 1800s. After working at a number of different plantations, Nat would then run away. Nat would then eventually go back to the plantation that he ran away from. He claimed God gave him a sign to go back for his people. But here's where it gets real. On August 21st, 1831, Turner ended up gathering all his homies, and they all turned on their white owners, killing them all. The enslaved individuals would then go to the next plantation, free the enslaved people, and kill their masters as well. This lasted about 2 days. It was said that Nat and his crew killed about 55 to 65 white people. It's considered the biggest slave rebellion in the U.S. history. He was later caught and hung in front of the whole town to see, and that's the story of the real-life Django, Nat Turner. Story of Nat Turner, the real-life Django. Turner was...
And like I said, I hadn't seen that clip before, so I didn't know where they were going to go. But that's just more so to show, and maybe that does, because it kind of went a different place than I wanted to just give y'all the insight on. The reason why I wanted to show it is to show you that Nat Turner was simply, he was driven, he went crazy because he was tired of feeding his people lies. And let me not say, let me hold on, let me rephrase that. When I say that he went crazy, I do not mean that he went legitimate crazy. What I mean is he got fed up and decided to respond in a way that the majority of us would see as extreme. It was extreme. However, he was in extreme circumstances. I'm not rationalizing anything. I'm not justifying anything. Maybe I am for him. I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking about it. Am I rationalizing or justifying what Nat Turner did? It's very hard for me to sit here and just look at the actions and say the actions are justified. He's justified. Maybe it's not even for me to justify it or rationalize it, but I'm not going to run away from giving my opinion and thoughts on it just because it's an uncomfortable situation. Nat Turner got fed up. Nat Turner got fed up and he got pushed to a certain place where he ended up committing sins. So it's not rationalized or justified. However, that's what happens. And maybe we're seeing exactly how that happens around the world. When people get fed up, when you keep your foot on people's necks, when you keep oppressing people, eventually there's going to be a response. Now, you could say that that response is not justified. That response violates this code, violates this law, violates thou shalt not kill. It violates all those things. And perhaps that is the reason why we need to stop what I believe is happening with their brewing with this race war. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where all the principles, the morals, the values, they get thrown out the window because people get pissed off to a certain point where all that stuff doesn't care. It doesn't matter. Eventually, we're going to get there. And it's going to be a very sad time. And for whatever reason, in my opinion, it's serving as a distraction in the United States. And honestly, it may not even occur before the world ends up blowing itself up. Who knows? Just based on how things are going. Like when we have countries that have nuclear weapons getting ready to go to war, then that's the first step to this all being over. Like we do realize that, right? Eventually, let's say one country's getting ready to lose. What would most people do? Forget it. I'll crash out. All my people, we about to be out of here. All right, well, we're going to take as many of them out as we can as well. So we're going to press our button. Y'all press y'all button, and then buttons just start getting pressed. And then the world's over. And then we're so damn selfish that we destroyed humanity. So now these beautiful lives that we live, now we'll never give the future generations the ability to live them just because we couldn't allow our ego to get out of our own way of pressing buttons to drop bombs on everybody. And I know I kind of said it got a little bit away from the Nat Turner story, but the Nat Turner was more so focused on allowing ourselves to be indoctrinated with certain things. And more so, I was focused on the entertainment industry and culture and that aspect. But I just wanted to play it because I was supposed to play it a little bit earlier. But the whole Nat Turner thing, I mean, it's and the reason why, I'll be totally honest, the reason why it's hard for me to say whether I rationalize it or justify it. Let me do the easy way. Let me do it the easy way. Let me put myself in Nat Turner's position. If I was Nat Turner, I may have done the same thing. Or I may like to think that I would have done the same thing. Maybe I would have been too coward to do the same thing. Or maybe I would have, I don't know. Maybe I would have said, oh no, I'm going to take a more logical approach. I don't know. But in Nat Turner's situation, if I did the same thing, I would sit back and evaluate it afterwards and say, nah, that was wrong, but so what? That's the mindset. That's what happens when a group of people feels like they have no other out. When you put that person in the corner, you back somebody into a corner, and how else do you expect people to react? So I know I'm bouncing all over the place when it comes to this, so my apologies, but these are just some of the thoughts that come to mind when all of this stuff comes at me. Like when I'm consuming all this information, it's just because it's the same old recycled playbook. And this is why I said earlier that Netflix is the devil, because if we never look back at our history and try to learn from it, then we're just going to continue to fall into the same cycles. All this stuff is on rinse and repeat. And you know what's wild? The people that are trying to control us, they're looking at the history. They're looking at, hold on, what worked to control this group? What worked to control? Okay, we could do, okay, boom. They're doing the due diligence. It's the lazy masses that they know are going to be lazy, that are not going to look into stuff, not say like, hey, this looks like a familiar situation. Maybe we should instead of going left like we did before, maybe we should go right. Or maybe we should just stop and evaluate some things and before we move forward, understand what's expected in either direction. But in my opinion, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let me get rid of the Nat Turner. Hold on. No. The LinkedIn private user. First off, you gotta, matter of fact, LinkedIn private user. Try to put your name on here or something, because if you're sending something for me to play without me reviewing it, at the very least, we got to have some type of accountability with you giving us your name or something. We can't just throw it on there. We can't just throw it on there. It could be something crazy. But let me keep going. Let's get into this Joe Biden. Oh wait, no, we said the Trump video first, and then Joe Biden. Hold on. What was the Donald Trump? I think that was on YouTube. Give me a second. All right. Hold on. I wanted to talk.